So, is the stigma that surrounds sobriety stopping some people from doing what they really need to do? As ever, anybody that's landed here for the first time, I'd really love you to subscribe to my channel. I post regularly about all things mental health and well-being and the ways that we feel and our emotions and all kind of topical stuff like that. And I'd really like you to stick around. So just remember to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you know each and every time I post a video. So recently I celebrated 7 years as a sober person, 7 years without any alcohol or drugs going into my body. That was on the 14th of May. And so I had my first sober day on the 14th of May 2012 and I've remained sober ever since. Now there's loads of different ways that I'm not going to go into today of how I've stayed sober. Perhaps that's for another video. But what I have noticed is the stigma that I face as somebody who doesn't drink. Now, our initial thought might be that all the stigma surrounds people who drink too much, right? What we do stigmatize is the result of drinking too much. So if somebody loses all their possessions, we stigmatize that. If somebody becomes homeless, that's very much stigmatized. Again, you know, that's a result, often can be a result of a drinking problem. You know, debt gets stigmatized, poor hygiene that results in having a problem with alcohol. All these kind of, the results are stigmatized, but actually certainly in UK society, it is very, very easy to normalize the way that you drink. And so hiding a drinking problem can become very easy. And I certainly know that for me, I have faced more stigma as somebody who doesn't drink in my life than I faced when I did drink, and even then I was a father who was drinking too much, and actually I faced a lot less stigma for that. So when I say I faced stigma as somebody who doesn't drink, what do I mean by that? Well, quite often I can be, particularly when I'm around people who, for the first time, even if they've known for a long time that I don't drink, when I'm around them for the first time in an environment when they're drinking, I'll be under I'll be getting pressurized. That's why I don't drink, why I don't just have one, you should have a couple, and the pressure can come there quite a lot, right? I've faced people telling me that I'm weak, that I've had to give it up, that you know, it shows a weakness that I've had to give up something that I love. And ultimately, particularly in drinking environments, so in bars and pubs, you can face a lot of stigma. And in the beginning, when I first stopped drinking, I found it really, really difficult. And in fact, I had to kind of remove myself from any of them social situations where I was going to face that. And a lot of that was to do with the stigma that I faced and the pressure that people put me under to just have one. So that needs to change. And for it to change, I think we need to address where it comes from, why that stigma exists, not just kind of bash people over the head who do that stigma. Look at them with compassion and see if we can understand why the stigma is there. For me, I think a lot of it and a lot of the stigma comes from the relationship that we have as a society with alcohol. I have found, and I believe that quite often when I'm around people in an environment where there's lots of alcohol and I'm not drinking, my very nature of not drinking is like holding a mirror up to people and their relationship with alcohol. I often get people kind of justifying how they drink, and I've never asked them, I'm not interested, and I'm certainly not judging them how much they drink, but because that somewhere in them they recognize a difficult relationship of their own with alcohol. Being in the company of somebody who doesn't drink forces them to spend time with that, and it makes them feel uncomfortable. Now, that's not me judging, but I do think there's levels to everybody's drinking, right? And there's levels to the relationship. Lots of people probably could do with a period of abstinence when they look at their relationship. Lots of people could do with cutting down, and lots of people just have difficult relationships and are using alcohol in an unhealthy way. Now, that's not to say that these are bad people and that we should reprimand them in any way. This is just about the more that we can promote healthy, open conversation, not demonize alcohol, not say that alcohol is bad and drinking loads is bad, because I don't actually particularly think that's the case. But we need to encourage that open conversation. And then in doing that, what we will do is open up spaces where people can address their own relationship with alcohol, and also allow people that feel like sobriety is the right option for them to be able to go out in society and not feel questioned or pressured into going back to drinking. So there, ultimately, it's something that I've been thinking about quite a lot and wanted to bring up, because like lots of people reach out to me about how I've stopped drinking and ask me questions about it, and there's always an underbelly and an undercurrent from the people of, you know, the pressure that they feel from people. Even the people that know they have a problem seem to put them in this place of pressure. So we need to open the conversation. I think we need to have more real conversations about the way that we consume alcohol and our relationship with alcohol, without pointing fingers at each other, without judging each other, but just to be able to have that conversation so that we can create real and meaningful change. If this has been helpful, please, as ever, make sure that you like, and I know I've mentioned it a million times before, but please subscribe too, and I'll see you again soon.